As well, hope everyone had a wonderful, wonderful week. We are laning this week Parshas Noach, and I wanted to share a very, very beautiful idea that is found in the Ramban. The Ramban is found in Perek Vav, Pasuk Yutes, and we're told that all the animals entered into the Teva. And the Ramban notes the following. The Teva was very, very large, but it is no way in the world that it had the capacity to contain everything that it had to contain. Yadua, says the Ramban, Ki chayot rabot ma'od. There are many, many different animal species, and some are very large. You have elephants, you have lions, you have all different kinds of large animals, you have even small animals. Even the number of species that exist in the entire world is so, so voluminous. And we are told that just the Ayah had 120 different kind of mutations, different species of the Ayah, so many different animals, large animals. And how is it possible that everything fit into the Teva? So clearly there was an ace, says the Ramban. The Teva was miraculous, that it was large, but nothing could contain the entire animal kingdom. Impossible. And then all the food and all of the waste, impossible. So the Ramban asks, if this is the case, and the whole Teva was B'derech HaNes anyway, so why not make a even greater nes? Why not go ahead and build a small Teva, build a tiny Teva, and either way you're going to need a miracle, so why does Noach have to spend all of these years building a large Teva? Why not just build a regular sized Teva? Because anyway, a nes was going to have to be done. So Ramban gives two approaches over here. Approach number one, says the Ramban, is that Hashem wanted Noach to work hard on the Teva, to spend a lot of years working on the Teva, because Ulai Yasu Tshuva, the people would see him doing all this labor. Why are you doing this? Why are you building a Teva? Why the ark? And there's going to be a Mabul. The world is going to be destroyed unless you change. And it would be the time would be used to inspire people to do tshuva. V'od. And then says Ramban something unbelievable. Asu osa gedola lema'it banes. Hashem wants to minimize the miracles. Ki kein haderech b'chol hanisim shabatorah o b'neviim. That the derech of the Torah and the derech of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in running the world is to minimize nisim. Lasos ma'aseh b'yad adam lasos v'hashar yeh b'dei shamayim. Is that we have to do our very, very best b'derech HaTeva. Noach had to build the largest Teva possible. And then the rest would be taken over by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But to go ahead and say he's going to make a small Teva when he could have done more, no. Our job is to do everything that we can do, and then rely on Hashem to take over the rest. And that's a very, very fundamental yesod. We see this elsewhere in the Gemara Maseches Megillah Davav Beis. The Gemara tells us that when a person is involved in learning and he says, Yagati, I toiled, so then Matzasi, you'll find. If he toiled, he'll find. What's the idea of if he toils in his learning, he will find? It'll be a mitzvah. You see, Metzia is something that you didn't really work for, but here he did work for it. Yagati. So why did it say he found it? So the answer is because in any human endeavor, the Hashkafas HaTorah is we toil, we work, we do as much as we can. But the results, what we actually will glean out of it, that's not really in our control. And anything that we get is ultimately from Hashem, and therefore it's a Metzia. It's a find. There's no direct correlation necessarily between the effort and the result. The result is dependent on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And I think if there's anything we are learning from the COVID, corona waves, down waves, up waves, and the craziness and the constancy of this struggle that we find ourselves in, I think this message is crystal clear, and the idea is crystal clear, and our takeaway has to be this concept, is we are supposed to do everything we can in finding a vaccine, in protecting ourselves, in protecting others, in doing everything that Teva, that nature, that the medical profession tells us we're supposed to do. We have to do our hishtadlus. But it's an amazing thing, the correlation. We don't always see direct correlation. Some people are super spreaders, and some people are not super spreaders. Some people get it and they don't infect their families. Other people infect their entire families, the entire school, etc. It's not something that you can pinpoint and understand what exactly is going on over here. And I think that's what we're seeing here in the Ramban. The Ramban is telling us that Noach has to do everything he can. But don't think that there's a direct correlation between everything that he does and the ultimate result. The ultimate result is Hashem. And yes, he makes a large teva, but it still wasn't enough. It still couldn't contain everything, yet Hashem then produces the result. Hashem takes over. And that, I think, is the avoda. That's the constant avoda that ma'aminim b'nei ma'aminim, that Bali B'tachon has to have, is we do our ishtadlus, we work very hard, and we do everything we're supposed to do. But at the same time, we realize that the results are biyad Hashem. We daven for good results. We daven for a speedily return back to normal. But to have that sense of hashkafa, perhaps that's exactly the lessons that we're supposed to take away. Have a beautiful Shabbos Kodesh.